I was pleasantly surprised to see how many people downloaded our free ebook.
Yes, it's volume 1, and it represents what the first 27 people on our podcast had to say about staying motivated.
Yeah, and I have to add that it was staying motivated when you just simply don't feel like it. That's kind of special.
That is, and that was what was interesting to me, was they all contributed something uniquely special from their own creative experiences.
Well, you know what? I can't wait till we create volume 2.
Yes, and that will be out around the end of the year.
Hi, everyone, and here we are celebrating what people love to do creatively by giving them a voice. I'm Rod Jones.
And I'm Angie Jones. Welcome to the Thought Row Show. We invite you to follow us wherever you listen. And just to let you know, our episodes are always absolutely free to listen to. And of course, you can always check us out at thoughtrowpodcast.com, where you can listen to any or all of the episodes on our website.
Yeah, especially if you miss one, and you know, that can happen. Also, we would love to hear from you. Don't be shy. You can always reach us through the website's contact page and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, and that is why we're called Thought Row Podcast, because we would like to hear from you, and we can always learn from one another.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Before I ask you to share your quote, who are we featuring in our new segment? I love this segment.
I do too.
And it's called, What Are They Up to Now?
Okay, well, this week's feature is going to be Gene Sassy and the Sassy Museum of Art. They moved to a new space in the Arts District of Pomona. They added 2 separate smaller gallery spaces for smaller exhibits, a gallery to show pieces from the museum's permanent collection, and a small museum store to sell work from their member artists' catalogs and books.
Yeah, it's Pomona, California.
Yeah, it is.
Not too far from us.
Not too far. And the exhibit Photography Past and Present is closing and included almost 200 pieces from the mid-1800s to present day.
That was a great show.
It is. And November will be the Torso Project fundraiser, which will include approximately 40 torsos that have been decorated by local artists to be auctioned off online from the 25th to the 27th of November, along with the torsos. The project will also include an exhibit featuring the art of the human body with painting, sculpture, and photography. And the museum has created catalogs and books. If you'd like to know more, please go to sassyartmuseum.org.
Yeah, definitely check that out. That is an incredible website. There's so much information and content on there. And it goes back several years, so it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, very much so. sassymuseumofart.org.
Yes.
sassyartmuseum.org,
Yeah,
excuse me.
It. No, you got it. I know we're going to have a great interview coming up, so we're going to have to keep our intro short today.
Okay.
So, Angie, how about sharing with us your quote?
Okay, so here is my quote for this episode. And it is, my favorite museums are things like the Frick Museum in New York, the Huntington Hartford in Pasadena, where it's like someone's home you walk through. And that quote is by Larry Ellison, the co-founder of Oracle.
I would have never guessed that in a million years.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised. That's why I wanted to use it.
And, you know, the Huntington is certainly one of our favorites.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that far for us to drive to it. And then I also remember the Frick quite well because I got busted there for trying to take pictures in there. And actually, I was only taking pictures of the, you know, the overall architecture. I wasn't focusing in on a painting, but within a matter of seconds, I was surrounded.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, because sometimes it's just nice to take environmental pictures like you were doing, and the security fun police comes by and puts a kibosh on it.
Well, it definitely wasn't taking a selfie. I just kind of like the architects. The entranceway is really, if you have an opportunity to go to the Frick in New York, you should check it out. It's pretty special.
And I remember the Burrell collection in Switzerland, which I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly.
I think you did.
It's spelled Buehrle collection in Switzerland. That was so charming and intimate with all the remarkable art on the walls. And literally, it's in a neighborhood.
Yeah, we had to hump the hill to get up to it.
True.
But it was well worth it.
Very true.
And that's one of my favorites too. Unfortunately, a few years later, they were robbed of some of their most cherished paintings. And I'm not really sure if they ever recovered them, though. I guess we could always find out.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But, I know we need to move on. So let's have your Rod's motivational moments, Rod.
Well, my motivational moment,
yes.
Speaking of museums, here's what I think. A museum on a rainy day is the most perfect place to be. You'll find yourself surrounded by paintings that have become old friends to many.
Oh, couldn't agree more. Remember when we were in Europe and it was always raining, it seemed like, when we were going anywhere? Because we went during the winter that one time. So it was pretty rainy. But anytime we go to a museum, it felt warm, cozy, and like you were just, it felt great.
Well, I remember one time I was in New York and it was really a miserable, rainy day. And I decided to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And little did I know, almost all of New York decided to do the same
of
thing.
Course.
That
it was
museum
raining. Why
was
not?
packed.
Yeah.
But I think they all had the same idea.
Well, of course. It was raining, and what else are you going to do?
Yeah,
you need to be inside.
Yep. I know our guest is going to have a lot to share with us and our listeners. So how about us bringing him on now?
Okay. Well, let me kind of introduce him so we know what he's about. We're going to speak with Arijit Bhattacharya. And Arijit is a serial entrepreneur, technologist, TEDx speaker, global VC, and a pioneer in the computer game development industry.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Arijit, welcome to the Thought Row podcast. We are really excited to have you with us today.
Yes, hi, Arijit. We're always pleased to have an entrepreneur on our show that's so accomplished.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me in your podcast. It's a pleasure and honor to be here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're happy to have you here.
Very much so. Okay, so Arijit, before we begin our interview, we always ask our guests what they had for breakfast. So what did you have?
Well, because I am a kind of health freak and gym freak, I usually have heavy protein breakfast. So I had around 5 eggs, plus a few bit of fruits and a bunch of dry fruits with a lot of water.
Oh, that is really healthy. Good for you. So do you work out then too?
Yeah, every day I usually work out at least for an hour. If I can't go to gym, I have a home-based gym as well in my own house. So I usually hit the gym and burn some few fats and try to build some good muscle and try to have a healthy lifestyle so that I can work more.
Exactly. Good for you.
Yeah, it's also good for your brain.
Yeah.
Eating healthy.
Yes.
Really is good good for the mind. So why don't you start by telling us, where are you speaking to us from? Where are you right now?
So I'm right now in India. I'm based out of a city called Calcutta, which is eastern part of India. If you look at the global map, I'm just near to a place which is very close to Bangladesh. So before partition, Bangladesh and West Bengal, my state, used to be one part. Till date, we talk the same language, which is Bengali. Though their pronunciation and the way they speak Bengali is a little bit different than ours, but we cherish the same food, same kind of culture internally. So that's my exact location at the moment.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, cool.
What is your home like? Without getting too much detail, what is it like?
Well, I'm actually based out of city. So this is like a kind of, you can say, mix of few green trees. I'm not exactly into the concrete jungle. Intentionally, I build my house because it's basically, you can say, if you compare downtown, it's that kind of area where we have a lot of greeneries, a lot of open sky. Mainly people stay in own house rather than flats or apartments. So that's the area I usually stay. So if your audience don't know about Bengal or the culture, in long back during our freedom fight, we had a lot of personalities like Swami Vivekanand, who is from Bengal. He's a Bengali. Rabindranath Tagore, if you have heard about that name, it's a global name. He's a famous poet.
Yeah, we're familiar
He's from
with him.
Bengal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He's another Bengali. So we have a long list of Bengalis. And for the audience, Bengal used to be the capital of India before British came and when they started, ruling India that time.
Right.
Somehow it used to be the main capital. Somehow it used to be one of the finest port. And we had all those glories of business and doing a lot of cultural activities. Till date, if you look at Bengal, it has got all those cultural activities, all those intellectual properties, all those people who are poets, artists, who are coming from Bengal. And that's a famous area where you will get a lot of people who are basically from creativity, and their background is creativity. And you can get any Bengali in anywhere in the world. Like in US, you will get a lot of Bengalis. So we traveled across the world to probably seeking for something more and something more. So till date, we are yet to explore how Bengalis feel what is more. But yes, that's how we usually cry for.
That's wonderful. We're going to ask you some additional questions later on, and that is some follow-ups in that area. We know of the culture and especially the creativity that comes out of Bengal.
Yeah, very, very prolific. Well, I was curious. Did you grow up in India always?
Yes,
Did you
I grew up in India
the whole time you were growing up?
So I started traveling during my entrepreneurial days. So I traveled around 40 plus countries till date, which is not a big number, but all these travel actually happened due to the business expansion and a couple of merger acquisitions and fundraising activities for others, a few of the helping for startups and growing a couple of communities. But that started, I really forgot the year, probably I started in 2006, my first international travel that happened.
Okay, great.
But I grew up completely in India, full-fledged Indian, homegrown man.
That's Is your
family still there then? Still around in the area you live in?
Yes.
And, we all gain something from when we grow up and we learn various things. I'm curious about, what do you consider to be the most valuable lesson you learned as a child?
Well, if you ask me, my superhero is my father and, of course, my parents, in the sense, my mom and dad. So if you ask me that specific question, probably I learned to become crazy and, put my nose on the grid and achieve things from my father. So maybe that's the biggest learning and lesson that I got.
That's
a really nice thing. So he's an inspiration to you.
It's great to have good parents. Yeah. What line of business was your father in?
Well, my father, he is not from business. I'm the first one in the family, the entire family of ours, to start my own business. So I'm a first generation entrepreneur. My father, he is a corporate guy. He used to work in corporates. He's a retired man now, enjoying the whole family life. My mom, she is a public prosecutor. But again, she took her retirement around 2-3 years back. I intentionally pushed her to do that so that she can enjoy her, second part of her life, so that she can enjoy with the family.
No, it's so wonderful. Now, when we talked to you initially, you mentioned that you liked to draw when you were a child. When did you start drawing, and what was your favorite subject matter?
Okay, so probably I started drawing when I was in class 2 standard. So it actually happened because I really wanted to probably draw, color. I was fascinated about something which is related to black and white and gray mode color tone. And while watching me drawing a couple of characters, not only nature, I was actually more inclined about creating characters, human, animals and others.
Right.
So my mom decided that I need a teacher. So she took me to one of the finest artists in the town. But I denied to get a training from him because I wanted to watch Batman in
Oh,
TV.
yes.
Superheroes.
There you go.
Yes. So he gave me a time which is conflicting with my, Batman TV series. So I decided and said, and I asked him that, can you change the time? He said, no, I mean, this is the time. So I said, okay, then I'm not going to learn from you.
Oh.
and and I came back home and it's like I started learning on my own. Eventually, when I was in class 3 standard, I think after a year, my mom got someone he used to be an art student in our arts school. He was a college student, of course. His name is Manayan Mahato. I don't know where he is right now. If you are listening to this podcast, I'll be blessed and honored as a teacher. You are a big part of my life. So when he started teaching me, we became friends. He became like probably like my elder brother, my mentor regarding drawing. And we used to spend a lot of time. So it's not about only arts. We used to talk a lot. We used to talk about universe, about God, about goddess. I wanted to create superheroes. So those things started with a very nice discussion between a child and a college student. And that continued for probably next 4 years. Somehow he got a job first time and he decided to leave our town. And he couldn't tell me that he is leaving because he loved me like my younger brother. Yeah. And he wrote me a letter. On those days, there was no email, of course.
Right.
He wrote me a letter, posted it when he shifted from Calcutta to Delhi, wrote me a long letter why he couldn't tell me that he is leaving, and he wished me all the luck. And he wanted to connect back, of course, but somehow we lost touch, lost contact. I was a kid. And of course, we didn't have that mobile phone or telephone service.
Yeah.
I tried to write letters, post it to him. In initial few days, that, letter used to go there. We used to communicate through normal letters.
Yes.
After that, we lost touch. Like he probably shifted from that place and we lost touch.
Right.
That's what happened.
That's unfortunate, but he obviously was
then after that,
critical person in your life. That's fabulous.
Yeah. But then after that, I never ever took any teacher in my entire life as an artist. I started drawing out of passion, out of love. And at the age of, I forgot, seriously speaking, probably when I was in class 6 standard, I started writing comics, drawing comics, and used to write and draw at the same time with a dialogue pop-up box into the school diaries and papers.
Oh my goodness!
And that used to happen. That's a funny story. So that used to happen when the history teacher used to come, or in my tiffin hours. Tiffin hours was okay. Like I used to have my tiffin, and after that, lunch break, and after that, I used to draw and I used to create those comics. But in history classes, that was so boring for me. I started drawing and I used to sit in the third bench. And in each and every history class, I used to be thrown out of the class because I was doing some kind of funny stuff in history classes. That gave me a challenge to explore history in a different way. I never ever wanted to, learn and remember all such years, all such instances. I decided that I'm gonna rip off this history in a different way. So I started learning Sanskrit, which is one of the oldest language, probably in the history of mankind. I started learning it, and my mom, she helped me to learn it because she's a Sanskrit scholar. So I learned the language and started digging deep into Indian epic, Indian mythologies, a lot of other countries' epics and mythological stories like Mayans and Nordics from different languages. And I started building my own superhero universe from all those stories in a very different storytelling manner. In the sense, I wanted to dig the science behind all those epic stories, all those mythological stories. Even I traveled in various different places while doing my globe travel. Out of curiosity, I usually go to places where I can get all such information, probably not from books, probably from folklores, probably from very old people, probably from wise men.
Right.
I met them in person. I had a discussion with them. I read a lot of old sculptures. A lot of them are destroyed in India, to be very, very honest. But while digging that, I developed a passion to dig the science behind all those epic stories. So if you look at present situation of the world, if we look back yoga, well, I forgot to mention I am an avid yoga lover. I can teach yoga to anybody with any place, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So while exploring such kind of activities, I understood that humankind needs to be more with nature, and probably I can talk more with my arts without saying a lot of things. In my childhood, I used to be an introvert person. Probably that doesn't show in my podcast, but I used to be a total introvert kid till the time probably I started my own entrepreneurial journey. So I used to draw and I used to talk with my drawing rather than talking to people. And it's basically an exclamation mark that I never ever portray myself as an artist. I don't know whether I'm artist or not, to be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started the company on my own, can I share you something like how I started the organization and what happened?
You know, we would really like for you to do that. I want to say it's very interesting how the path of your creativity and the fact that you had taken advantage of Sanskrit and everything that you've learned in your life, and you've converted that all to your art. And then I'm going to ask you a question, and then please tell us what you're going to say, because my question relates to this. You refer to yourself as a serial entrepreneur, and we'd like to know what that means to you and how has that impacted your life. But your art has had some impact on you.
And how does that connect with your art? That's fascinating.
It has had some impact on you being an entrepreneur. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. That's right. So I will probably take you back in 1998.
Mm-hmm.
What happened that time? In India, there is an examination that usually happens, which is called 12th examination. So it's like after class 9, then 10, 11, and 12. So after 12, you go to a college and you choose a specific path, a career for you. Till class 12 standard, I used to be a science student all along. I used to love maths. I used to love physics, chemistry. I used to spend a lot of time in chemistry labs, not doing usual school stuff. Rather, I was creating colors from natural flowers and leaves. So while doing all those kind of activities, I was talking a lot. I mean, my father, is my best friend, you can say. So we used to talk a lot on those times, at least. And he used to tell me a lot of stories about businessmen and how business can actually help the entire ecosystem, a whole country. And I used to read a lot about global entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs, Ratan Tata, Aditya Birla, those names.
Mm-hmm.
And I was fascinated at how they are making disruption. So while doing 12th, I got a chance to enter into engineering, which is completely into my line. All of the family members thought that I'll be choosing a path which is in the family tradition. Like people are lawyers, doctors, engineers. That's our family.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers, professors. But then one night I had a discussion with my father. I said that I want to create disruption. I don't want to go for any job. I don't want to, join engineering. Rather, I want to start my own venture. So he asked me that why exactly you want to start your own venture and what kind of venture you want to start. So I said, I want to create a game development company. He was like shocked. I mean, game development, never heard of at least that time.
I bet.
So he asked me that why? I mean, you want to mix your drawing with your what? I mean, why exactly game development all of a sudden? So I said, I want to recruit more and more people. And I believe that India needs businessmen who can probably make money for the entire country, and they can recruit more and more people into the company, and company will probably take care of them. That was a very simple kind of thought that was there in my mind. I never had any kind of idea how to start a business, how to run a company, where to get things done. I was just like a passionate guy who wanted to do something for the motherland. So the discussion started around 8:30 p.m., went till probably 4 a.m. next day. My father, he wanted me to become a soccer ball player somehow. And my mom, she wanted me to become a lawyer, usual. I mean, because she is a lawyer.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So, but somehow I convinced my father, and he said that, okay, fine, if you want to start your venture, not a problem, but I don't have a lot of money to give you. What I can give you the space where you can start your own company. This is the only step that you can do, is like register your company as a trade license, but you are 17, you are not adult yet. You're not 18. So how exactly you're going to start it? Anyway, it was a challenging thing. It was a funny thing. I started and I failed miserably. And that time, there was no one who can understand my language. I was talking something which is probably alien to them. And it was a very difficult time for me to convince parents, at the same time convincing people in family what I'm doing, why I left engineering and why I joined economics and statistics as a combination.
You also had to convince yourself. It's very challenging to take the way you were raised, the way you were taught, and then all of a sudden go off in a direction that doesn't necessarily fit with your history.
Yeah, true. And economics, because I wanted to explore the commerce part of it, because I'm a complete science geek, it's difficult for me to shift completely to a commerce background. But economics, I thought, probably will help me to understand the business part of it, which didn't happen anyway, eventually. So in next 3 years, it was a challenging time for me. There was no mentor. There was no one who can support me, who can understand me, probably guide me. I was roaming here and there, floating like a unguided boat in a big ocean. So while exploring that ocean, I realized that I need to be very, very focused. So if people can't understand what I'm talking about, let me create products which can probably talk about what I'm talking about.
Sure.
So I need money for that. I need a team for that. So I started an academy. After roaming here and there for 1 year, I started an academy with only one student in my home itself. And from one student that grew from 1 to 50, 50 went to approximate 500. It was a full house of students. I was teaching programming. I was teaching drawing. I was teaching them animation. Now, you may ask me from where I got all these kind of knowledge. I am a self-taught programmer. I'm a self-taught animator. So I used to teach that whatever I know to these people who are probably, we had a age gap of approximate 2 years to 3 years. So all these students, to be very honest, got placement, and they got placements in a lot of different MNC because they became programmers, great programmers. A couple of them got chance as a graphic designer. Few of them got chance as an animator. I picked up 5 people to join my own team. They became my first layer of employees who started working on a specific game project. Together, 6 of us, we built a nice, decent game. While doing these activities, I used to sell computers. On those days, if you remember, we used to have assembled computers plus branded computers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because of money constraint, a lot of people used to buy assembled computers, and I used to assemble it from the nearby market and used to sell it to either offices or to probably local household. And if you look at Bengal, let me give you a small idea about the communication that happens. On that time, I used to travel in a local train. So if you look at local trains in Calcutta, it's like full of people. Like people used to, it's like if you look at them, you will feel that probably some monkeys are traveling in the train. It's full of people, like you don't have place to stand. That's the kind of local train we used to have. So my shoes used to be, the black shoes used to be gray, and my if it is a white shirt, it used to become a different color in different parts of that white shirt. So I
Wow.
used to
Oh my
carry,
goodness.
and it was like sweating like anything. Okay. So I used to carry an extra shirt and extra shoe in my backpack, go to the nearby market, change, do the assembling for 2 to 3 hours, sell it to a nearby office or to a household, make some good amount of money, come
Right.
back,
Uh-huh.
used to distribute it to my team, created the product. Let me cut the story very short. Created the product, went back to this market when piracy used to happen, had a discussion with a guy who used to do a lot of piracy. I told him that I have got a new game in the market which you don't have. He said, "You are bluffing." I said, "No, I'm not bluffing. Just use it, install it into your PC and play it." He started playing, he got interested. And while watching him, a couple of 5, 6 more guys came. They also loved it. So he said, "From where you got it?" So I said, "This is not from the market. This is our creation. So I want to make a deal with you. I'll give you 50%. You take care of the marketing. And you need to give me a promise that this is not going to be pirated." So he put something in that CD and he started selling it. He made money. I made money. And that's how the entire journey of virtual infocom started. And now we have a lot of different sectors into the company. We work on artificial intelligence, we work on blockchain, on VR, AR, a lot of new technologies like IoT. We have graphic designing unit. So when you ask me the question why I call myself as a serial entrepreneur, after starting that company, probably in 2006-7, I was invited into a lot of places because the startup buzz then started in India.
I want to ask you a question before you go into that, because that's fascinating. And you certainly have come a long way from doing those sketches of superheroes. And I guess we would like to know what is the driving force behind your ambition? What made you so ambitious in this area? Because there are a lot of people that have dreams that they want to accomplish this and they want to accomplish that. And they never, unfortunately, a lot of them don't go the direction that they had hoped. In your case, it looks like you planned a life that turned out to be very successful. But what do you think was your driving force behind your ambition?
Honest answer, I really don't know what's the driving force. Probably I love keep going, but if you ask me specifically, maybe I wanted to give back rather than taking things from the nature or from the community. So that's my nature. So like when you start your life as a value giver, you get more, and that's the power of nature. You give 5, nature will give you 50 back. Probably that's my driving force, to give value and give value and give value. I'll share a lot of stories because you will probably love these stories of my personal life. We changed a person from probably a hardcore entrepreneur. Of course, I had ego once upon a time in my life. I'll share all those stories if you allow me.
Well, we certainly want to hear some of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have.
My goodness.
Okay, so in 2006, what happened? 6 or 7, I totally forgot which year it was. I was invited as a speaker in one of the university here in Bengal, which was like people die to get a chance for. I forgot to mention, after my graduation, I did master in computer science, and that's we call as MCA, master in computer application. And I did quite a bit of number of master degrees in finance and others because my parents asked me that you need to go for all those kind of certifications. Otherwise, we will just, not be very, very happy because in our family, we have all those, activities. Anyway, coming back to the story, I was talking and giving a speech in a conference like this. In that conference, what happened? Couple of people, couple of mentees, or rather students, they were asking me a lot of questions. They were asking me a lot of questions, which is like probably I was watching myself in those students. And they were clueless how to start, what to do, where to go. Just like me around 10 years back or probably 8 years back. So I decided that if I can help them, maybe that will be good for these guys. So I started helping few of those students who wanted to start as an entrepreneur. The very term entrepreneur tagged in my name on that time. Before that, people used to call me, I'm a businessman, I'm a crazy guy, I'm a mad person. So I started mentoring these kids. I started mentoring these young minds. And one of them told me that, can you help me with some money? I wanted to start my own business. I am clueless how to do that.
Right.
So I said, okay, fine. I can always try to help you. What exactly you want to do? So he told me that he want to start a business which is on completely non-technology basis, completely controversial. I'm so sorry, completely, a usual kind of business which is on spectacles. So I helped that fellow initial days, started his website, gave him a kind of seed things and all. And he started his journey and I felt really, really good. And I felt that probably I can help a lot many people. 2008, a leading newspaper from India, they wanted to do a story on my life, on my entrepreneurial journey. That's the first press news that came out, and I started getting a lot of calls, a lot of emails from a lot many people from various part of India. And to be very honest, for next 4 to 5 years, I was like a face of media. I was almost everywhere in various part of India, either as a speaker or either as a media magnet. So that gave me a kind of mindset. And during these 4 5 years, I actually invested in 2 3 more ventures, 2 3 more companies, and I started loving it, helping, creating new ventures,
Right.
Getting some newcomers in the market, and then probably helping him to start his own business and become part of that company as a director. It was not at all calculated as a angel investor, to be very honest. It was more of like helping someone with money. And of course, I wanted to have some money back during this entire incident. So what happened, I became like, you can say, I started thinking that probably I became like Steve Jobs, and people used to call me like that. The Steve Jobs from eastern part of India. So I gathered a lot of ego that okay, I became like him, whom I used to cherish.
Well, I
life.
want to make a comment here. You started out at one point in your life drawing superheroes, and then you became one. You are one.
I don't know. I don't know whether I became that or not. But yes, so
to a lot of people that you've helped,
they probably think you are.
A lot of the people that you've helped build their careers and build their success and happiness. I think you are a superhero.
Okay. And what happened? Thank you so much. And what happened after getting a lot more like those kind of egos? I started getting a lot of fascinated opportunities from various different part of world as well. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm in ninth cloud or something like that. And of course, I wanted to enter into the movie industry. And that's an interesting story for all of you. So I'll take you back to probably in 1999 when I started digging into the movie industry to do a couple of VFX work for them or creating a game for the movie industry for our own Indian Bollywood and Collywood movie industry and Tollywood movie industry. But none of them understood me, and a couple of directors used to throw me out from the studios, and they used to laugh at me. So in that time, after probably 8 to 10 years, now I've got money, power, and I can do almost anything. So what I did, I created a different kind of USP for the company. We started taking real actor and actress as our own model. We started simulating them in a normal local studio. We converted the entire studio. We hired a lot of local photographers. I taught them how to do the photography for games. And then we specifically started making superheroes from those real actor and actress. Initially, it was fresh models. eventually that became like celebrities used to come and we started making them as superheroes. And those directors who used to call me crazy, who used to throw me out and others, now the situation became a little bit of completely different probably. Well, for the information, they couldn't realize I'm the same kid who used to roam around nearby the studio area. Now they thought that some big business magnate came and he is there to pump in money. I did my bit in the movie industry here in India, co-produced 2, 3, and give a public declaration that I'm that kid who came around 7, 8 years back, wanted to disrupt. Nobody understood. Nobody listened.
That's perfect.
And this is this is the kind of thing that I am doing. And let's join hands.
So let me ask you one question there, because I want to make sure our listeners understand that. You basically are creating animations with those actors, correct?
No, we are basically creating game characters.
Okay,
and
they
are becoming, So they are becoming game character into our title-based games, which is our own universe. And
do people from India recognize them and say, "Oh, I know who that actor is," and now they are featured in a game? Then,
yes.
And I assume that's helped Has that helped their career? I would think it would.
Yes, of course. I mean, a lot of actors, they got many work orders because they became a game character. Which includes India's first superhero, Shaktiman. So Mr. Mukesh Khanna became in and as Shaktiman into our 2 game titles. He's a very nice guy, and I respect him for that. I used to watch the TV series when I was a kid, and when he said yes to become a game character, I was jumping with joy. And then we converted around 300 plus real actor and actress into 3D characters for our game, for our VR apps, for our augmented reality games and others. And so far, so good. All of them became happy, and a lot of them became popular. A lot of them started their journey from our platform, and they became now popular. They're working in MTV, they're working in international platforms. We send, I think, around 50 plus fresh models and actors from India to a lot of different countries, including China, South Korea, Taiwan, where they used to become a cosplayer. They used to represent our game. They used to walk on the red carpet and all. So that happened. So disruption happened. I became like, again, I would love to mention this. I became like a more and more success-oriented person. I used to think that, okay, I became really, really successful. I would love to touch upon a very small story which changed my entire outlook towards life.
Okay, and then we're gonna ask you a couple more questions related more towards creativity. Although you've shared a lot, and I really appreciate you talking about the games. That's fascinating. But go ahead and tell us what you're going to say.
Okay, so I was traveling in a different part of country, which is basically called Rajasthan, and it was winters. And in winters, in a specific area called Churu, which is like a very cold at night. It becomes like -2, -3. It's really cold outside. And I was in my cozy car. I usually used to travel. I hope I'm not taking a lot of time of yours, or is it okay?
No, it's okay.
You're okay right now, but we do have a couple questions we definitely want to ask you.
Yeah, before we go, yeah.
Sure. So what happened? I was in my car, and of course, I was working in my laptop. And all of a sudden, I hear a child is crying loud like anything. I looked at my right side, and I saw that there was a mad woman. I mean, she's not mentally stable. She got a child. She's a beggar, of course, like staying on the streets. And the child is crying because it doesn't have any kind of clothes. And because of the cold, she's crying loud. And what happened? My car actually stopped in a signal. I saw that incident. What happened? The lady, she opened her own clothes and she wrapped up the baby and grab her into her own lab. And that's it. The car started, signal opened, and I started crying. I was thinking like, what the hell I'm doing? Like, this is not the reason I started my business. I became famous, made money. I'm helping probably a couple of more startups, but my intention was to uplift the community. Intention was to probably give back to my countrymen. And this is the situation in India. And I'm not able to do anything. I'm just getting a lot of press news. That's it. So I decided not to be in the press after that. And I decided that I'm going to uplift the villages rather than recruiting people.
Good for you.
So we created a division. Yeah. So we created the division in the company wherein I specifically put people who can travel, go to these villages where we can fetch the poor people, teach them on handicrafts, on creativity, and we can probably make an opportunity for them to have a good livelihood. I personally traveled to, I think I forgot the numbers, lot of villages, made them, visited these places, started giving them training for free. Entire program runs for free. And whatever product that they produce, we started selling it from one place to another place. Initially, it happened within India. Eventually, I started exploring the opportunity to export that from India to other parts. And whatever money that entire cluster used to generate, it is only for them. We created companies and we created clusters inside those villages. It's a self-sustaining model, and I felt happy. So probably you asked me a question why I'm running so much. Probably I wanted to become more happy, maybe like that.
Very good.
See, that's really great.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to have you on again because
I know you've got so many great stories.
There's a lot of things we want to ask you. You covered a lot of ground.
So many things.
I know we really appreciate it. I'm going to ask you kind of a quick question. In 5 words or less, what would be your advice to people who want to live or be more creative? Okay. My first line would be mad. People used to call me mad, but I have a different dictionary. M for moderate, A for accurate, and D for determined. So be mad, that's good. Number 1. Number 2, if you really want to become an artist, don't think who admire your art or who is appreciating it. Don't draw because somebody will buy it. Draw it for yourself. And for every product, there is a buyer. I firmly believe that. Yes. It just needs a right time and right connection for you. So don't create art for others. Number 3, if you're asking me 5. Number 3, probably when you're creating your creativity, try to talk with your arts. It should tell a story, not a small incident. It should have a meaning. The 5th point, a very simple art can have a beautiful caption with a meaning. So try to make some art which can connect and touch probably humankind, and people would look at it and probably cannot, move their eyes from your art. It's hard, but it is okay to create such kind of incident. I know a group of artists from different part of Eurasia who actually started a revolution by saving, and that revolution actually saved an entire mountain. And there was a factory which wanted to destroy that mountain, and the group of these artists with singers, with painters, they saved it. And then after that, they are now asking our help to our community if we can help with some kind of technology which can sustain that factory, because there are people who may become jobless because this is shut down. Yeah. That's how artists think. Excellent answer. That's probably one of the best answers.
Yeah, that really
received.
Was.
So how about your famous question?
Here's my question. We always ask everyone this, Arijit, and that is, if you are sitting on a park bench and could chat with anyone from the past, who would it be?
Myself.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent.
That's a good answer. You would like to discuss what you have been through in your life?
Probably I would have given him a couple of small advice, which I feel that could have been done better because I had less experience. Probably I did a lot of mistakes in life.
Okay.
So probably I would love to talk that to my younger self.
Okay, that's really a good idea.
It's a great idea because we all
want to do that.
We all want to do that.
Yeah.
We look back and say, boy, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I had not done that. That's a great answer. That's an excellent answer and a very truthful one. I hate to do this, but we got to wrap this show up. And Arijit, you have accomplished so much in your life. I mean, we're so glad that you were able to share some of that with us. I know that your life has been one that is very dynamic.
Yeah, and filled with so many, opportunities that come about just because you keep going.
Yeah, you made it happen.
Very cool thing.
Well, till date, I feel that I haven't done anything, to be very, very honest. If Albert Einstein can say that he's just picking up small rocks in front of a large sea, so who the hell am I to say that I have accomplished something? I haven't done something yet.
Well, I think the biggest thing that you've accomplished and the biggest thing that you identified was your willingness to
stay open and give back
and help other people that are less fortunate than you. I think that is true success for anybody.
Absolutely.
Any entrepreneur that can get to the point where they can actually help other people. That's the best.
Exactly.
You know, Rod, you are right. What I feel as a success, that's last line before before we probably end it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel success is when you can make others smile, make others happy. And it's not the amount of money that somebody can earn in life. Money can be earned, money can be burned. It doesn't matter. It's just a way of buying things. But money cannot buy happiness. Successful person is someone who can make others smile from inside by virtue of doing their own work together. It's not that you are giving some money to someone and he or she is smiling. No, that's charity. But if you can create a complete structure where people will laugh, when people will smile, when people will probably feel joyful by hearing your name, that's what I call as success.
Couldn't agree more.
Perfect. You know, we're right up against it. So
yeah.
What are you going to say?
So I just want to let everyone know, if you want to know more about Arijit, we will have links for him under the show guest tab on thoughtrowpodcast.com. So everyone can learn more about him, and please connect with him on social media and check out his website.
Yeah, we plan on having him back again because there's a lot of ground that we'd like to cover that we think has much to do about living a creative life. So, Arijit, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you for being here today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Yeah, bye.
Bye. I'm really glad you tuned in today. We hope you enjoyed the thoughts and ideas we shared with you.
We post a new podcast every week, so remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss an episode. So it's bye for now from my husband Rod and I, wishing everyone a great day.